or you'll just say, I'm just going to play it safe and just complete the seed as logic intends.
Yeah, yesterday we saw a gamble into Ice Palace for an ice rod that really paid off. Looks like we're off.
Yeah, no, today we will have bad luck. Wow, Uncle's not our friend today.
Hey, we got an immediate lamp though. Can't be that bad.
That's not bad luck at all.
No dark rooms today from either of our runners.
I kind of feel a little bit cheated though. Being standard mode, the game gives you that free light cone during the escape sequence, and having a lamp doesn't give you a double light cone or anything. I think you should get it should be like you actually lit the torch. The entire room should be fully lit. That seems fair. I mean, you gotta get something out of your free light cone, right?
Ooh,
Maybe
we got a bomb opening.
Our rupee refund.
These are my favorite types of opening sequence. I love seeing what people do with their bombs.
Yeah, it's not one of the most commonly practiced openings either. You really do have to actually put a little bit of time in and practice it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some pretty creative strats though. There are some strats that are safer than others, using the statues in the center of the room to kind of pin guards against. So we'll see how risky our runners get with this opening here and how much they practice.
Well, I think bombs is probably one of the better opening weapons. Ironically, you only need 5 to clear all the enemies out of here. So you're gonna have enough to do the back of escape and even starting Kakariko if you're careful. I'd rather have bombs than Cane of Burna.
Yeah, I can't stand the cane. Both runners getting through this pretty quick. Yeah, I'm seeing chat. I do agree that Burna is slightly easier than bombs. My only issue is I don't like going out of the way for the magic pots, and Burna is just a really tight opening. Like,
Well,
even though it's a really easy weapon to use, like you really have to manage your magic pretty well.
I forget who mentioned it. I think it was Amazing Ampharos, but pointed out that the Cane of Burna always knocks the enemies up from where they are. So, like, if you hit them from the right, they'll be knocked up against the wall. I never noticed that, but it really does make farming a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Loony, no problem with the bomb strats. I took out that blue guard there, 2 hits, but I don't know. Did Zil save a bomb or did he find a bomb? He's up 1 at this point.
He got a bomb drop from the blue guard in the bottom of the previous room.
All right, nice. So looks like they both got their bomb strats down. Definitely want to use pots for this. I don't know how many bombs it takes, but a lot more than 2.
Yeah, I know it's at least 3, probably more. This green guard in this room, when you're doing a bomb opening, is one of the most trolliest enemies in the game. Because you can't really dispose of him. You have to aggro him, and if he stands right in front of that table, you have to walk all the way around. I hate that green guard.
He's a really bad guard, though. So if you stand behind the table or the grating, he just forgets you're there. And that's why he never got promoted, into Eastern Palace or the Light World. He's just stuck in the basement for a reason. He's like a 3rd-tier guard at best.
He's probably dreaming of that day where he gets to hold the ball and chain.
Exactly. That's his life dream. He went to guard school. He finished last in his class, but his father was an alum, so he got a waiver. They gave him basement duty, and look what happens. His first day on the job, Zelda escapes. It's I don't know. At this point, he's probably just hoping that Ganon gets the Triforce and remakes the world, and he becomes a Moblin.
Man, so even though they still have 5 and 6 bombs, they're still not out of the clear yet because they do have to take out this rat, and this rat is the most annoying part, hands down, of a bomb opening.
I like to take the suicide approach when it comes to this rat. You just hold the bomb and you just follow the rat. Yeah, you'll blow yourself up in the process, but it's the only way to be sure.
every time I go suicide strats with the rat goes with me. So the rat starts doing suicide missions and then just starts running into me and I end up throwing the bomb all across the room. It's funny because I'm running after the rat and the rat's like, come at me, man.
Wow, there you go. More bombs. Exactly what they needed. Now we're gonna obliterate that poor rat.
Yeah, at this point, just don't even look. Just start throwing bombs in the dark.
Yeah, we're gonna get like a SPCA complaint after this game.
Well, one thing that they can do, they can light this torch in the corner if they want to.
Well,
Zilvarro and Loony both getting the key pretty much at the same time there.
so 2 bombs for 1 rat for Zill, 2 rats for 1 bomb for Loony. I'm gonna give Loony the win on that one. Oh yeah, a lot of value back here.
Thank God we saved those bombs.
So got the map as we're leaving the dungeon, just in case they don't know how to get out. The single arrow for the bow we don't have, and a heart piece that doesn't top us off. So yeah, we're really set. I'm gonna call go mode at 6 minutes 17 seconds.
So when you're coming out of Sanctuary, do you prefer to go to Lost Woods first, or do you prefer to check the lumberjack item?
Well, I kind of see like you check the lumberjack on the way to Lost Woods. It's really interesting. If you go back to open mode, you had the option of starting at Sanctuary or Link's House, and almost everybody who would start at Sanctuary would always do a lumberjack check. It was standard, and now in the standard mode tournament, it's really fallen out of favor. People will not check that until they actually get the boots, and I have seen so many races get someone loses because there was an item there that they were looking for, and that was their that was the progression. They just didn't check it.
Yeah, I like to check it too for the information. I will say though that both of our runners are loaded up on resources. We have plenty of rupees, so we definitely have bottle vendor. We have plenty of bombs to clear out Kakariko. But especially if I'm low on resources, I like getting the tree pull. I like checking the bush crab, all that good stuff, while also getting that information as to whether or not this is a aggro required seed.
Well, if you're going to skip the tree pulls and the bush crab check, then I can understand skipping lumberjack. But if you're doing the tree pulls and the crab, it's 15 to 20 seconds to get that information. And if you lose by 15, oh, Moon Pro, wow. If you lose by 15 seconds, then that just wasn't going to be your seed. But
Yeah.
most of the time, not checking that is going to make you, it's either going to have no value or you're going to lose by 10 minutes because you didn't have that knowledge.
Yeah, finding full magic on that tree pool. So right now we've got the bug net, we've got the moon pearl, and I believe Light World was all crystals.
Yeah, that's a nice piece of knowledge to have on the tree pool. If they do run out of magic and they don't have the boots yet to get one of the easy bonk locations, that could come in handy. But they really don't have any magic consuming items, so probably won't see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got the lamp on the uncle to start out with. I personally don't think it gets better than that. Lamp, I think, being the best safety / utility item in the game. I mean, I love powder, but I like me some lamp even more.
Yeah, I cannot do dark rooms. I can get through Eastern on a good day. Ooh, first sword.
They definitely needed some kind of weapon. Bombs. Oh man, have you ever watched a seed where you started with bombs and then you had to stay essentially with bombs?
Yes.
Like,
Even to
bomb
like
land
mini
those.
Moldorm cave, like that's one of my least favorite rooms to do bombs only.
I saw somebody having to climb the Tower of Hera with just bombs. I mean, you can't kill Moldorm with them, but the progression was in one of the upstairs chests.
Oh my gosh.
And so like all the crystal switches that had to do with bombs.
We have an early ether. We have mitts and flip. Wow, this well was loaded. Holy cow.
Yeah, gloves and flippers there. That definitely opens up a lot of progression items.
Yeah, that puts us a hammer. Oh, there's a bow. So Eastern is fully clearable at this point.
Being a crystal, yeah, I would say early Eastern. I would go to Eastern maybe even before South Shore. I mean, that's six items you're going to pick up, including Sasha's hut, as well as a crystal, and you don't even have to deal with the dark rooms. 4 hearts is what you have in NMG Eastern if you pick up Sankheart.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I say just full clear Eastern at this point. Wow.
Yeah, anytime we pick up an early pendant like that, if we see a Spear 1 Ice Rod, I'm willing to bet money that Turtle Rock is probably going to be a pendant and Ether is probably going to be the opening.
Yeah, this is a dream lad on items though, and picking up the sword too. Just you know, even if they do go south, you know they're going to be able to clear Mini Moldorm really easily. You can get through Eastern with just the bow, and even just the boomerang to stun things.
Just a heart piece on the race game. Zilvarro will save and quit out of there. We'll see if he takes your advice and goes straight to Eastern.
Yeah, that's a reasonable save and quit. If you gamble in the race game and you're almost through, and there's a heart piece, so you pick it up. But if you check it first, it's probably not worth the backtrack.
Yeah, as loaded as Kakariko was, I probably would have checked it too before just running into it. If I don't find a lot of items in Kakariko, I'll usually take a chance on the race game.
Yeah, I like it. Both of them making the Eastern play. This is probably going to pay off for them. If not, at least it's a crystal and 6 items out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, such an early bow would suggest that something is bow locked behind the logic, and with the lamp too, that really points heavily at Armos Knights having progression.
That money there works out really well for their routing. When they finish up Eastern and they do their South Shore route, they'll be able to just go to all of Zora's domain at the same time.
Yeah. With the myths, we could also head up to Death Mountain. Can't do a whole lot up there right now, but that is on the table.
Yeah, definitely in the logic. I think you're getting
I think you get the old man and whatever is inside Spectacle Rock Cave.
well, you get 12 items in the South Shore Zora route if you include Ice Ride Kiev. So that's pretty hard to pass up.
Yeah. Man, without boots and a regular bow, we get to see those hot NMG strats here.
Every time I see
quick Armos kills.
Yeah, every time I see this dungeon, it just blows my mind how, like, this is probably the most optimized dungeon for having boots, and you can never have boots here in vanilla. It's all straight hallways. The entire dungeon is hallways.
Never really thought about that, but you have a very good point there.
Like I look at this, I'm like, this has gotta have been what they meant to be the third dungeon, and Hera was first, and they just swapped them around or something.
So with the early big key, we will be able to check this big chest. We actually could take a gamble and go straight to Armos. Did the bridge had an item, didn't it? The bridge in the first room?
I think so. That's a tough gamble to make. This is a really weird dungeon. It takes a long time to backtrack through everything because you have to go through that dark room.
There's our second item.
Yeah, I like Magus66 in chat saying this dungeon is designed to make you appreciate the boots once you get them. that actually makes a lot of sense.
I think that might be our third item. The bottle with the bee in it.
Wow. bottle progression, and they can skip the whole dark room sequence. Wow. Where was the seat in all my races? That's what I want to know.
No, I learned something interesting in that room, which is maybe common knowledge to everybody else, but tried to do that room dark, so I had Quake medallion. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to use Quake to kill all the popos. Nope. Apparently, they can withstand the earthquake of Quake.
Does it kill them or does it jellify them?
I don't know. I was in the dark. I couldn't tell. They sure
Yeah.
didn't die though.
Try that in the light. Normally, Quake turns things into the jellies, so they are probably just jellies.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought I was pretty smart, but I ended up dying. Oh, I like Looney with the sword charge here.
Yeah, I actually got confused for a second because he was holding a sword out, and I thought he had silver arrows because of the sword sparkle. I was like, when did he get silvers?
A very clean Armos fight from Zilvarro, and it looks like Loonycloud is using a very similar strat. That bow making quick work of Armos.
First crystal at 16 minutes. That's nice.
Yeah, no progression in Eastern though, other than that bottle.
Yeah, but they got 12 more spots down here on South Shore. They got a Gina's cave. They have Death Mountain. They have so much to do still.
Agina's Cave is one of my least favorite locations just because it never has progression until you skip it.
Yeah, what's the saying? It's something's always there until it isn't, or something's never there till it is. If I found a hammer at the dam here, I don't even think it makes sense for the runners to go to Dark World. I think there's so much in Bombos. Wow, there's so much in finishing the South Shore Zora area. They should just continue on and clear out this area.
Yeah, I mean there's too big of a chance of a necessary item being either in Moldorm or Ice Rod, or even at this point Zora and the Waterfall.
Yeah, and the seed gave you early flippers. Like, now that would be a completely different opinion if you found hammer and you had the fake flipper through all this. But with it all being in logic, I don't think you can reasonably pass up all that item density.
Getting some post strats here from Zilvarro. And going back to the sword. These Moldorms are the worst if you're trying to hit them with arrows.
Yeah, but the B strats, on the other hand, gotta love those.
One of the few rooms that's just made for a B.
Yeah, that is absolutely made for a B. That stupid B didn't even pick up the heart piece for Looney.
There's our Ice Rod and Samaria. I'm calling Pendant Turtle Rock Dip right now.
I'm not going to debate that one. Pendant Turtle Rock is very, very likely. You don't get this much early progression without a Pendant Turtle Rock.
Yeah, especially with that Canis Samaria, it's gonna be real awkward if we see Pendant Turtle Rock on the map, just because it's so early in the logic that we're getting all these items.
So hopefully this is not an actual divergence. I think that Looney is just doing Hobo on the way to Ice Rod Cave, and then Zil will do Hobo, and then they'll both go to Zora. I really don't want to see either player miss an item at this point.
Hobo just having a piece of heart and just money in Ice Rod Cave, so both of them, you know, certainly not bad items, but not necessary by any stretch.
Yeah, that's our third 300 for the race.
Yeah, Zilvarro is sitting at 1,300 rupees. So it looks like the runners may be trading places now. We'll see if Looney heads straight to Zora. No, it does look like Looney is going to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, it's so quick to route in. I mean, you just why bother leaving one location behind at this point?
We have the shovel on the Lake Hylia
Ooh.
Island. Oh,
Oh,
Looney taking a
taking the
death.
death there, but picked up a fairy. Oh wow, that mini Moldorm fairy didn't get to hang around in Looney's inventory for too long, but earned her worth.
Yeah, not really the place you want to use that, but certainly grateful to have it.
No, that is exactly the place you want to use that, because you are never coming back to Ice Rod Cave if you die there.
So that was a 300 rupee fairy.
That's good value, because they have a net so they can get free fairies whenever they want.
So I think both of our runners at this point are probably heading up to Zora. We got plenty of money for it.
Yeah, it's a great place to save and quit from. I mean, you can't flute out of there, so you have to save and quit even if you had the flute. It's a convenient place to end your route. The question is, after that though, where do they go? Because they're down to turning the bottle in, doing a Gina's cave, or checking the old man and the paradox cave item.
Yeah, it looks like we had silvers in the waterfall fountain, so very comfortable seed so far with the early bow and the early silvers. Just a red boomerang on the Zora ledge, so nothing important there. It'll be interesting to see what Zora's holding. After this, I would probably go to Death Mountain. Go ahead and get that save point. Depending on what items you get, you're in a good, like if you find Hammer at Death Mountain, you're in a good place to use it. So yeah, I'd probably head up to Death Mountain if it were me.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say you head to a Gina, because if a Gina has the hookshot or the mirror, you can utilize that on your Death Mountain trip.
Good point. Zilvarro is opting to go for the red boomerang.
Wow, this is a major mistake for Zilvarro, picking up an item that has absolutely no value in the game.
It's a magical boomerang. You cannot say no to that.
Well, he's got the blue boomerang. He's got the good one.
So both runners starting at Sanctuary.
Well,
This is the part of the race where both runners follow my advice, but it turns out to be the wrong advice.
typically when the runners ignore me, it turns out in their benefit, so this is probably a good move.
Yeah, I mean, at the least, next time they come up to Death Mountain, they won't have to do this walk. And you get one of the best, one of the fastest health refills in the game, especially after you get a flute. All right, let's see what this old man is holding for us. Just an arrow upgrade, so that's a bust. So we have one more item up here, and then we're heading to Gina's, or
Yeah.
turning in the bottle.
We're going to get the knowledge of what's on Spectacle Rock, but not going to be able to pick it up unless the mirror is inside. And wouldn't that be a treat? Oh, wow.
Sword upgrade.
A treat indeed, but not able to get it.
That's super useful knowledge, though, to have.
Yeah, without the mirror or both the hammer and the hook shot, it's going to be a little while before they can pick it up. That could actually end up being Buttersword by the time they get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like we have some divergence here. Zilvarro opting to check Agina's cave, so he will definitely get the item in Agina's cave and the knowledge of what is on the desert ledge. Looney heading straight to turn in that bottle.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a great way to route either of these in. These are both save and quit spots, I think.
Yeah. Occasionally I like to hold off on the Gina until I get a flute, but we don't even know what Misery Mire is right now, so for all we know, it's a fluteless seed.
So I don't think that either one of these is a better check. I mean, they're both out of the way and they have equal probability of having the progression item. So
With Sickid having a heart piece, I think Agina's Cave is a call here. I think Agina's Cave has to have progression at this point.
Sick Kid gave away his last heart piece. Well, he's dead kid now.
Might just be a cape or a sword. Oh, the mitts. We
Ooh,
got Dark World access.
mitts.
So opting to save and quit right out of there, so we still don't know what's on the desert ledge.
It's interesting. As much as I advocate for checking Lumberjack Cave, I'm actually not a big proponent of checking Desert Ledge, and I don't really have a good reason why. Just because you think they're the same thing.
Yeah, but I will say that you're much more like you don't have to go out of your way to get access to the desert ledge, and if you wait until you get access to the item, it's not a far check. So I can I can see that logic.
Yeah, I assume you're gonna be back there so soon anyway.
And Zilvarro ending up with a slightly more optimal route here, being able to turn in his bottle on the way to his Dark World access. So Loonycloud's going to have to make this walk twice.
That's a good point. Definitely nice to route the sick kid in that way. But they're really only 20, 30 seconds apart at this point, and they've cleared 100% of the items that have been available to them.
And Zilvarro has the magical boomerang. So Pendants, Thieves, like Thieves Town, Misery Mire, and Ice Palace.
Yeah, so Zilvarro does have the magical boomerang, which puts him at a slight advantage. He's carrying a little bit
Huge
more weight in his backpack. No, it's a disadvantage. He's carrying a lot of extra weight in his backpack. He has to remember to make sure that he's switched to the blue and not the red by mistake. That's extra work.
All right, but when he uses that magical boomerang to wreck Ganon, I'm just gonna sit here and be like, "Told you so."
I think that's absolutely fair. If he uses the magical boomerang to destroy Ganon, I will eat my hat.
So early big key in Skullwoods. Loonycloud opting to check the Village of Outcasts first. I think I kind of agree with Loonycloud's decision. If Skullwoods is a crystal, I tend to want to wait until I get the fire rod. If Skullwoods is a pendant, I immediately dive it, even if I can't complete the dungeon.
Yeah, I mean you can argue either way. I think a lot of people still feel that Skullwoods is the meme is the Value Woods or whatever. It's usually quick. If the items are up front, you can pick them up really quickly. And I don't know. You can go either. You really can go either way on it. So let's talk a little bit about Dark World navigation at this point. So their only entry in the Dark World without the hammer is at that one Kakariko point. They can go south from here, but and they can go back up with the mitts. If they want to get to Pod or Catfish, though, they need to swim over there. So they are able to access everything in the Dark World, but it's a long walk.
Yeah, and particularly Loonycloud, he is leaving a lot of checks here on not going into Skullwoods, not going into Thieves Town, particularly Thieves Town. I know that you might have to orphan the basement chest, but there are 4 easy to check chests in there. Although he is heading back up, so he might have wanted to do the digging game before getting involved with the blacksmith and or purple chest. Yeah, looks like he's going on a world tour with the Brawl.
So chat having a debate here. all right. I was chess debate is, can the hammer be in the pyramid fairy? I was thinking, I'm like, it could be on the pyramid. But yeah, I don't know about not the pyramid fairy. Okay.
Yeah, because you need the hammer to. Oh, well, I don't know. You need the hammer to open up. Yeah, you need the hammer to open up Turtle Rock, so it can't be on the pyramid fairy.
Yeah, I thought they were saying it couldn't be on the pyramid. Like they didn't think they could get there without the hammer. Forgetting that you could swim, but yeah, they were saying in the pyramid. Actually, forgetting the dungeon requirements, it couldn't be in the pyramid fairy simply because you can't swim with the big bomb. Even if they already had the 5-6 crystals, you can't swim with it.
But depending on your routing, you could use the mirror path, couldn't you?
You'd have to clear
That would
Aga.
be really cruel, but
Yeah, I mean, you could go clear Aga 1 in order to open up that mirror path. But otherwise, you can't get over there.
so we'll see. It does look like Loonycloud is taking the river up to east Dark World. Meanwhile, we're getting that Thieves Town check from Zilvarro. I don't think he found much value in Skull Woods. Got a book. So book, we know where the Master Sword is, so that or at least the sword upgrade. So that does put, at least once we get mirrors, it puts tablets on the table. We can also do our ped check, and desert's open, at least partially. We don't know if it's boots locked yet or not. Loonycloud making good use of that boomerang, but unfortunately, because it's not the magical boomerang, he does have to get a little bit closer. Looney's got Kiki. Did Looney? What happened to the blacksmith?
Did the blacksmith turn into Kiki?
I have no clue what just happened there. I wasn't watching the screen. I just looked up and he had Kiki.
I didn't know that could happen. Wow. That makes a lot of sense because you couldn't take the blacksmith into Pod. Maybe he knew that and just wanted to get rid of him, but that makes the trip kind of a waste.
I mean, if this was his end game the whole time, then I guess not so much because you can't go in here with the frog.
I gotta wonder, like, if he wanted to come in here, the Pod, and knew that would happen, if he did it just for like our benefit, just for jokes. We're gonna have to ask about that after the race.
So Looney is actually getting a lot of value out of this pod trip. So we can pretty much do everything that's not everything but there's the hammer. Holy cow.
So everything but nothing. we can do everything.
Clearly, we just need to let Loonycloud just do this commentary because, man, that's not a play I would have made. That is an insane gamble right there. Man, what a play. So that makes Pod fully clearable. He can now full clear Thieves Town. So Zilvarro, if there is an item in the basement, Zilvarro's going to have to come back for that.
So I'm watching this clip that Twitch posted. It goes in with the frog, it comes out with Kiki. It's amazing. I've never seen that before. I've seen races where you have the frog and then you find your go mode item in like Peg Cave, and you're like, oh man, I got to get rid of this stupid frog so I can finish the game. I've seen that before. You just have to drop them off. Never considered feeding him the Kiki as an alternative, though.
So, Zilvarro, getting the maiden, getting, I guess, the last item, and then opting to save and quit out of Thieves Town. I mean, it is a pendant dungeon, but if this ends up being a pedestal seed, that could come back to bite him.
It could, but I definitely think that's a really good play. You're saving time, and it's only a minor gamble. They've gotten so much progression so far. I think that's a fair gamble to take.
So we'll see where Zilvarro. It looks like Zilvarro's heading to desert now. So, unfortunately, we know the hammer is in Pod. So the only way Zilvarro is going to get his hammer is by following the same route that Loonycloud does, unless he opts to take out Aga 1.
Well, I don't see him taking an Aga 1 for the hammer. Chat insists that that is within the logic, and I'm going to admit that I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to state definitively one way or the other. But if that is the case, it's very, very rare, and you just have to accept the fact that you're going to lose a race if somebody makes that gamble and you don't. But as long as Desert isn't boots locked, and we'll find out here in a minute, he can full clear this. He'll get the ledge item, the 2 items in Desert, and of course the Desert Crystal. So it's an alternate play than Pod, but absolutely great. And as long as it's not boots locked.
With an item right there, I'm pretty sure it's going to be boots locked.
It is boots locked.
So that leaves Pod and Hype Cave for Zilvarro, so he's got to make this track now. Loonycloud taking the Death Warp. I don't remember if he has a fairy. Okay, no, we're good.
Yeah, with only 7 hearts and green mail, it's actually not a difficult Death Warp to set up. Really good decisions. Save quite a bit of time versus walking all the way out of there. Loonycloud, he's got the advantage of being able to enter Dark World at multiple locations now with that hammer. I think that has more immediate advantage than just the progression that the hammer opens up.
Yeah, absolutely. Loony is just going to get around the world so much easier now. I mean, after this dungeon, rather than having to backtrack to Catfish, could just save and quit to Link's house.
I think that really probably came into play in deciding whether to go into Pod. If it was bow locked, you'd find out immediately, and then you can go to Pyramid and make Catfish your last stop in the world tour here. But Pod paying off with the progression. It's so inconvenient to get here from Kakariko. You don't want to do it more than once.
Yeah. People asking where the hook shot could be in chat. I believe it's actually possible, depending on the layout of Pod. Depending on the layout of Ice Palace. I think hook shot could actually be on pedestal. Could be.
Well, okay, so I'll go through the logic on that one. They would need boots in order to access Misery Mire. You need boots or the hook shot. So if they get the boots, that would give them their Mire access. The hook shot is required in Ice Palace if you don't get the early small keys. But if you pick up small keys early, then you can skip it with the hook shot. You can skip not having the hook shot.
Yeah, you do need hookshot to full clear it. But I know that I raced a seed. I think it was one of the nightly seeds. No, it was one of the one-off races. But Ice Palace was green pendant, and hookshot was on Sahasrara.
Yeah, I mean, it can be required by Ice Palace, but it depends on how the keys are laid out.
We got
So
a mirror from Helmasaur.
wow, a lot of value in pod.
Yeah, Pod is a huge play.
Yeah, mirror's what you want while you're clearing pod, not when you're done pod.
So luckily, I can't imagine Zilvarro. I mean, he may decide to check Pyramid and Catfish and skip out on Pod, but he at least will be heading in that direction. So hopefully he dips Pod.
Yeah, Loonycloud, might have been tempted for a second there to to finish up the pyramid and catfish areas, but with the mirror, now has the ability to pick up the Hera Crystal and do both light and dark Death Mountain. If he finds the Fire Rod, he can also probably full clear Turtle Rock if it's Bombos or Ether. So yeah, there's like over 20 chests up here.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that with that mirror, we do have access to the shovel on Hylia Island. We don't really know what's behind that shovel.
Yeah, that is such a troll item out there, the shovel. They also have access to the front of Swamp Palace with the flippers in the mirror.
Looney immediately getting that Master Sword. Unfortunately, though, because Looney didn't dip Thieves Town, he doesn't have the book to check the Ether Tablet.
That's true, but I'd say that falls under a minor inconvenience at this point. Yeah, the 20 other items up here will probably make Looney happy with some progression. And so Zilvarro is absolutely heading in the pod. Not, a little bit bottlenecked in good choices, admittedly. But I wasn't even watching. Did Zilvarro also have the blacksmith?
I don't think he did.
You build up, and this is a bad thing, so I wish it didn't happen, but you build up a filter when you do a lot of these races that you really only notice like progression items and routing. Everything else is kind of just background. Chat says that he did not take the frog with him, so that's also an interesting question for him. Did he not take the frog because he wanted to go in the pod and didn't know that Kiki would devour it without mercy?
Yeah, I mean, he may have been afraid of taking because I mean, when you take the blacksmith, I would imagine that you're kind of committing yourself not to going into pod, to going up to catfish, and then saving and quitting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a death warp, not a death that Zil took there.
Oh yeah, definitely. He used the fireballs to as opposed to walking back up. So my question is, did Looney intend for that? Like, did Looney just, wind up accidentally getting rid of the blacksmith and just saying, well, guess I'm going to pod now?
Exactly. And did Zil not know that was a possibility? I did not know that was a possibility. I would have had the blacksmith and said, oh man, I can't get in the pod. I got to turn this guy in first.
Yeah, me too. So Zilvarro getting his hammer.
All right, so maybe here's a question, and if anyone chat, if you guys know the answer to this, then chime in. What happens if you go there with the purple chest?
I would imagine that the same thing happens. I don't know why the purple chest would be any more special than the blacksmith.
Well, that's a logical thing, but it's also Zelda, so you really can't take anything for granted. So does Kiki eat the chest? I know they said that Kiki will eat the super bomb, or the super bomb eats the blacksmith as well.
Ooh, Looney taking a fall to Moldorm.
Can you picture that? Like, you take the blacksmith to the bomb hut, and you're essentially like trading the bomb and committing to the blacksmith to a life of indentured servitude, working at the bomb shop.
Take the blacksmith to the bomb, take the bomb to Kiki. Take Kiki to the purple chest.
Oh, all right, Kiki should not be able to eat the super bomb. The bomb should obliterate Kiki once and for all, and all of your seeds from that point on should have free pod access. That's the only fair outcome of that routing decision. I would permanently give up Pyramid Fairy access if I could have a one-time use of my super bomb that destroyed Kiki. Can you take Kiki? All right. So does it work the other way? Can you take Kiki to the super bomb, and will the super bomb kill Kiki?
I don't think you can actually take Kiki outside of the pod area. I think you can walk him wherever, but the moment you screen transition, he disappears.
Oh, slacker.
I think Mori's just a wimp. It's like you get hit once, he's like, nope. It's like he just wants to stay in his area.
My favorite Kiki message is when you use the mirror. Have you ever done that?
I saw it on a race yesterday that I commentated on. Something about not playing by the rules.
he's like, you're not playing by my rules, and he just leaves.
So far, nothing on East Death Mountain yet. We've got, I think, a 10 arrow drop on the floating island and just a heart piece in Spiral Cave. Zilvarro would be picking up his mirror right now. I'm very glad that he headed to pod.
Nice helmet sword kill there. Got the sword spin and a couple hours to finish it off.
Well, you know, when you got that magical boomerang.
So where did you find his blue mail at? Was that also in Thief's Town?
I guess so. I didn't see him pick it up either. It had to be, because that's the only place he's checked right now that Loonycloud hasn't. So far, nothing in Paradox Cave either. Paradox Cave not really having much of anything in it.
No, we're gonna see the Dark Death Mountain, but that's just gonna be Super Bunny Cave. Without the boots or the hookshot, you can't pick up anything in Hookshot Cave, and they have no invincibility items for Spike Cave either.
You can open up Turtle Rock, maybe.
Yeah, well, maybe. That would not be a bad play. If you can open it up and go in there, you'll find out immediately whether your fire rod locked. It's going to be in the first chest, or you're going to be able to mirror out. So it's not a big time loss.
I'm calling Ether. And it's Ether.
Well, I really hope Loonycloud goes in here and finds that knowledge. If the fire rod is in here, which absolutely can be in the first chest, there's no better time than now to make that check, and it's a quick check. Woohoo!
Yeah, especially with the mirror. If that item's not good, you just mirror right back out.
Yeah, I think if you don't have the mirror, you probably check Super Bunny Key first, and then come in, so you can do a save and quit. But even if you have to ride that platform back, though, it's really only a few seconds.
Oh, we do have a key. So let's see how far this rabbit hole goes.
Yeah, I think I would rather that be a non-fire rod item than a key.
Well, I mean, even fire rod, even having fire rod, at least then you could clear it.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, fire rod would be the first choice,
Oh,
and then a non-fire rod item, so you know you're locked out. A key just means you have to go in deeper, but might get stuck later on. So you can have the big key or small keys on the right side, then you're doing half of this dungeon.
yeah, I recently learned, asking a question in the Discord. Apparently, fire rod. Ooh,
Oh
boom!
my god, value.
Holy cow! And that's good too because that's all you need out of Turtle Rock. Like you can't get any farther without the fire rod. That's huge.
Wow, good for Looney. I can't honestly say that I would have continued at that point with that first key.
Oh, and
Wow.
you get one chest in the hookshot cave too.
Yeah, that is that is a great decision. Props to Looney.
Yeah, he is making all of the right decisions right now. The only thing I could think of that, I mean, I'm not saying, Zilvarro is super far behind at this point by any means, but one thing I can think of that would really work in Zilvarro's favor is something like Fire Rod being on the Ether tablet.
Yeah, fire rod, hook shot, on ether would absolutely be a valuable progression. That's a location that I wouldn't expect Looney to come back to for a very long time. Not until he routes it in with a spike keep check or comes up to clear Turtle Rock, and maybe not even then.
Yeah, and this opens up a lot of checks for Looney now. Can go into Dark World at Village of Outcasts, clean up Thieves Town, and then he has Bonk Rocks, Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb. You might actually go ahead and check those now.
If Looney does go in and clean up Thieves Town, and Zilvarro continues on to Turtle Rock and picks up the boots, that will basically put them back on parity.
Yeah, King's Tomb just having a 20, so nothing big yet.
Yeah, the only time that Zilvarro is really down at this point is what he committed into Thieves Town.
Which Looney's going to have to do anyways. Well, depending we do have mitts and we don't have flute yet, but
Yeah, if we
we're a
find the
flute away from
flute,
desert access.
yeah, if we find the flute, we're not going to need the book. So Looney buying potions for some place that he's going to need them, or just because he's here.
Yeah, it may just be a safety item. I don't really know. I mean, unless you want it for Turtle Rock later, there really aren't a whole lot of magic-heavy dungeons that we have left to complete.
I kind of think. I know this is going to sound terrible, but I actually think Swamp Palace is a decent play, even without the hookshot.
Well, we got flippers super early. And really, by the logic, I mean, technically, the moment we got Dark World access, Pod was in the logic with the mirror. So, logically speaking, the entrance requirements into Swamp, we got those very early. And it looks like Looney is going right into Swamp.
Maybe Swamp, or maybe heading into Village of Outcasts and checking Cave 45 on the way.
Possible. Zilvarro is not checking either tablet.
Wow, that'll be unfortunate if that was the progression opportunity to gain the lead.
Looney is picking up a shovel. So you'll be able to get a shovel and K45 out of the way.
Yeah, that's pretty efficient thinking.
Oh, Chad is saying that Ether was checked before Hera, and it only had a heart piece. So hopefully Zilvarro checks Turtle Rock wise here.
Yeah, it looks like Looney is making that K45 shovel route really efficient. This is actually a really tough thing to do because you know you remember the shovel is out there, but to remember that this is the time you can pick it up and you can immediately use it and loop it in with a K45 check on your way to digging game and picking up the frog again. Like that's thinking a couple moves ahead.
Yeah, and with that mirror, all of his Kakariko routing is going to be much more efficient. We're talking about those fetch quests with the blacksmith and the purple chest and all that good stuff. And just 50 rupees behind the shovel. Zilvarro getting his consolation prizes for checking Paradox Cave there.
Looks like Zilvarro's definitely heading into the dark world. We know that Turtle Rock is the right play. Hopefully, it's more than just checking Super Bunny. Hey, the frog's back.
I wish they gave him some kind of text, like you just try to pick him up, and he's like, bruh. And like, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like claw marks in his tunic or something like that. I just got out of there, barely escaped. You monster.
So Zilvarro is opening Turtle Rock. Let's see if he goes in. Oh no! Maybe he's checking Super Bunny Cave. Wait, yeah, maybe he's checking Super Bunny Cave first. He can't do anything in here
Hey,
but open
he
it.
just likes to lift the rock. Showing off his strength. The lift +2. Alright, not saving and quitting. Very good move from Zilvarro.
Yeah, that routing choice just had me nervous. I mean, of course, there's nothing wrong with doing it in this order. Just I was really nervous he's going to save and quit out of there.
Well, I mean, that's what I suggested, because if you find the fire rod in there, then, you can just, you can do all Turtle Rock. It wasn't, it didn't make a difference with the way the items work, but, or even if it's like just red mail, and then you find the fire rod in Turtle Rock, it makes it, a little easier.
So Loonycloud not finding anything from blacksmiths or Cave 45, the shovel spot, or anything. So depending on what Zilvarro does after getting these boots, he can save a lot of time here.
So was Loonycloud going into Ice Palace?
Looks like it. That may have been the play he was thinking about when he got that blue potion earlier.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I was thinking at the time, why do you buy the blue potions? You buy them if you're going into Ice Palace, Turtle Rock, or Ganon's Tower. But
Although, just has Looney hasn't cleared out. Looney hasn't even dived into Thieves Town yet, has it?
no, and I think picking Ice Palace versus Thieves Town, you're just picking one pendant over another. Um, uh, did Looney check
Oh no,
the
Zilvarro's getting
available
out.
items in Skullwoods?
I don't think so. Okay, Zilvarro
Yeah.
is going back.
That could be scary. You go on tilt after that death.
So Looney, without the book, does not have access to desert right now, even though he does have the boots. So with the book, you know, as long as he had entrance to it, he could full clear it. But Zilvarro, once he gets his boots, he'll have full access to desert.
I think the Skullwoods check in Thieves Town is probably a better play because, you know, there's 4 items in Thieves and only 3 in Ice, and Ice is harder. Like if you're just looking at item density, but you know, it's not better by enough that you could really say like, you know, one is bad and one is good.
Oh yeah, I was talking from Zilvarro's perspective because he has a book, whereas Looney doesn't. So for Looney, desert isn't really on the table for them. It looks
No,
like Zilvarro's actually heading right to desert.
right, no, I was saying for Looney picking Ice over Thieves Town.
Oh, got it.
That was what, yeah. Zilvarro absolutely going to desert now that it's full clearable is definitely the right play.
Just a weird note. I still don't think we know what's on the desert ledge, which would only be funny if it was something like a tempered sword right now, because Zilvarro would have had access to that for a very long time.
So Looney picked up bombs in the first chest. Did he pick up a second item and then just die or save and quit? I saw save and quit there, but I didn't see why.
I didn't either. I mean, from the last time I saw Looney, he was throwing the bomb over the hole. So I don't even think he had time to set up the bomb jump at that point.
Yeah, I think he just changed his mind. Maybe it was a little bit tougher, you know, than he was thinking, or decided, you know, maybe I really don't want to do this without half magic and the master sword, and I'll just come back later. That absolutely makes sense. It's a difficult dungeon.
Yeah. I mean, especially without Fire Rod, Master Sword, Cold Stare is not a fun fight.
Yeah, doing Skullwoods, Thieves Town, these are much easier locations. Ultimately, I might have to go back to Ice, but gonna find the book in Thieves Town. That's gonna lead him over to Desert, and that's gonna put both the runners essentially back where they started.
Fire
The
Rod,
Fire Rod.
Desert.
Wow, Fire Rod in Desert.
Which
Okay.
Looney doesn't have access to without the book. So Looney is going to have to dive Thieves Town.
I think diving Thieves Town is definitely the next step at this point. If you nope out of Ice Palace, then you probably means you're going to do Thieves.
Oh, and also I'm kind of remembering our earlier discussion. I think Looney found an item in the first chest. So without Hookshot, I don't know that Looney could actually check more items. He could have gone and killed Cold Stare, but that's about it.
That's a good point. The whole thing's accessible with bomb jumps, but logically only with a hook shot. So lots of reasons to say Ice is, you know, probably not a good play at the moment. I'll just come back later if I have to.
Yeah.
So chat pointing out also that makes Thieves Town a required double dip because the Fire Rod was boost locked. Good observation.
So right now, the only thing we're missing, I believe, is Hookshot.
That's true. It doesn't mean that we're not going to need 4 other items to get the hook shot, but Hookshot's the only one that we need.
You know, luckily Swamp Palace is a crystal, so that does slightly limit the locations it can be. Loonycloud is really avoiding Thieves Town. But I mean, all these checks are valid. You know, Hookshot could be here. Or half magic. That's really nice to have, too.
That's a nice find. But I don't think that's going to drive him back to Swamp if the bomb jumps were the issue, and as opposed to the magic. I meant ice, not Swamp. I think that you were right that it was probably not having a hook shot that made him decide that he didn't want to progress.
So, Zilvarro, where do you go? Well, I mean, I guess Skullwood's being a crystal. I don't know how many items we found there, but you might as well go clear that out. Turtle Rock is full clear now.
Yeah, he still has to do the boot spots here. I think you finish Skull Woods. Probably do a pedestal check while you're there just to see if it is hook shot, on the off chance it is. You have the mirror, but then go do Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and Loonycloud finding the book in Thieves Town. Unfortunately, Loony could actually mirror out of the dungeon now, but I mean, there's no way for him to know that. But looks like he is gonna at least find the rest of the items. We'll see if he full clears the dungeon or not.
Yeah, that mail upgrade's also very nice for Looney. It was still in green this entire time. Yet another reason to decide Ice Palace is probably best saved for later.
Oh, Loony's out.
Yeah, not even finding all the items, just the first 4 chests. A common play, and in this case, the right one for Looney. Looks like straight to desert.
Yeah, and this is exactly the play Looney needs to make. This will give him the Fire Rod, which unlocks Skull Woods and Turtle Rock.
So I was gonna say with a Bombos check, and then he didn't, but it looks like he's going back for it.
Are we about to see a swamp dip?
No, I
Oh
think
wait, no, Bombos.
this is Bombos on the way to desert. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's a smart play. Much smarter than dipping swamp without a hook shot.
And I think Looney is just he's gonna do the exact same thing. He's gonna go finish Skull Woods, and then he's gonna go to Turtle Rock.
And I don't think that Zilvarro made this check earlier.
No, this will be our first tablet check. Well, we saw the ether, but this is our first Bombos tablet check.
Magic tape.
And nothing on the bumper cave that we saw, but that unlocks Spike Cave.
Yeah, and it's definitely a nice safety item to have, depending on what bosses you're going up against. Could be very useful for the Vitreous fight. Well, we got silver, so probably won't be seeing that cave, but
If Looney does Turtle Rock and still hasn't found the hook shot, might do Ether and Spike Cave together afterwards. And Zilvarro probably won't have has already done Ether and probably won't have the cape at that point for Spike Cave.
looks like we might see some Fire Rod strats here on Macula. Zilvarro being very conservative with his magic in that torch room.
Yeah, you can get the Mothula with 8 pots if you clear all the Gibdos with swords, and go back, collect some pots from the previous room. Nice Mothula fight.
Yeah, excellent fight. And rewarded with a piece of heart, so that gives us a shield and a heart container in Skull Woods.
Alright, well, hopefully we're going to get that pedestal check and definitively rule out hookshot.
I'm hoping for a mushroom on pedestal. Oh, it's not checking it.
Not checking it. I'm just gonna call out the speed gaming bot. Don't try to advertise other channels. We're all enjoying this Zelda randomizer match.
So, what is Zilvarro going for at this point? I guess he doesn't have maybe Graveyard Ledge?
Yeah, Zilvarro is doing a graveyard ledge check.
Chat bringing up a good point that pedestal isn't in logic until we find flute.
Yeah, it's not in logic, but you can't exclude it either.
Yeah.
And the game is all about excluding it. Why would you not check pet in a case like that? Well, it takes 30 seconds, and if there's only one progression item that you could possibly need that could be on there, so it's a gamble like every other play.
Yeah, at this point, it's either Total Rock or a Pendant Dungeon, I believe. Zilvarro does have, the Magic Cape and then the Magic Cape and then Spike Cave that he could still find, but that's about it. Zilvarro's running low on checks. I think he's about to do his Blacksmith and Purple Chest route, though.
Yeah, if you full clear Turtle Rock, and now you're at the point like, okay, I got to do Thieves Town, Ice, and Misery Mire just for pendants. Yeah, then you're gonna check what the pedestal is before you make that kind of commitment. But at the moment, you have all of Turtle Rock open, you have Mimic Cave open. If you find the hook shot, then you're in go mode and you just clear swamp. So that 30 seconds can make a difference. I mean, we've seen races that have been tied, so 30 seconds is a lot.
Yeah, could also be a fun location like Catfish. Neither of our runners have made the Catfish check yet.
I don't see why the hook shot can't be on the pedestal. I mean, if you get the flute in Ice Palace or Turtle Rock or Swamp Palace before the hookshot locked locations, then you do have Misery Mire access.
Oh man, flute in swamp for pedestal hookshot would be the worst.
Yeah, it'd be terrible, but I don't see why it would be invalid. And they are both just repeating each other's steps at this point, clearing up some overworld.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go after this. I mean, because in my mind, these are kind of the obvious checks, but after a while, you're gonna have to decide, do I make a run up to Catfish? Do I make a run up to Turtle Rock? Do I check Spike Cave, Balmo's Tablet? All that good stuff.
So what I'm thinking now is, you try to walk into a cave with a purple chest, and it says, "Can't you take me somewhere nice?" And my first reaction is, "Oh, you want to be taken somewhere nice? I'll show you somewhere nice. We're going to Kiki." Let's see if you'll walk into a cave now.
I mean, after that blue rupee, you probably want to feed him to Kiki.
Exactly. All right, so Bombo's check for Zilvarro, and then he's done down this area, unless he wants to make a swamp dive.
Loonycloud's going to have a much easier Mothula fight with the half magic.
Yeah, if he makes a swamp dive and finds hookshot in swamp, then that's his go mode. He gets to go mode the rest of swamp, and finish on Turtle Rock already up at Death Mountain, so definitely worth considering.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping we get a ped check from Looney here. Looney going with hammer strats. I actually prefer hammer strats to hookshot strats with Mothula. Making very quick work of Mothula.
Oh, I hope this is a shovel check and not an Ice Palace play.
Oh yeah, you'd have to be in the light world for Ice Palace anyways.
Well, he's got a mirror. I mean, like, I hope it's just a shovel check and not a shovel to Ice Palace.
And Looney, check pedestal. Please check pedestal.
Oh!
Oh, it's got to go pick up the shield.
Like, oh, come on, Zill. What a tease. I'm gonna go halfway to Ice Palace and then save and quit.
He probably realized,
wait
wait a minute, I don't have a hook shot.
All right, mirror. We all know what that means, everybody. Get your hype on.
Mushroom.
Ooh.
Oh. Tempered and/or butter.
Not a bad item, but not worth all the trouble.
Not worth a pendant Ice Palace and a pendant Mire.
No, a great item to be on pedestal, though. Yeah, but vanilla sword. That's true.
So Looney looks like definitely checking ether. Maybe Spike Cave. Maybe even a Turtle Rock dip up in this area.
Yeah, I think you do Spike Cave after Turtle Rock simply so you can save and quit. But it doesn't make a big difference either way.
Getting a pyramid check and possibly a catfish check from Zilvarro. This will be new information for us.
Can you imagine Hookshot just like sitting here the whole time?
I don't know. Now I'm really itching for Flute and Swamp Palace.
All right, red rupee on the pyramid. Thank God for that.
Chat mentioning a pyramid fairy possibly having hookshot.
Absolutely, Pyramid Fairy can have the hookshot. I think that the Turtle Rock play here is better than the Catfish play. You're full clearing a crystal dungeon, and you know, you're checking 6 items instead of 1. But you know, if that 1's the hookshot, then that's the better play in hindsight.
Yeah. Zilvarro's stocking up on blue potions. Looney correctly remembering that he has to do this the long way, without that hookshot.
That's always embarrassing when you have to make the double trip around. Like, what's the worst thing that Catfish could have? Flute, maybe? Opening up a new area?
Oh man, if Flute is on Catfish and hookshot is in Turtle Rock, that's bad news for Zilvarro.
Just a red rupee. Okay, so waste of time, but not steering him in the wrong direction.
What is Zilvarro doing at Link's house? We might be seeing an
Ice Palace. Ice Palace play.
But honestly, I mean, what else is left? You have Ice Palace or you dive Turtle Rock. That's really all we have available to us right now, unless you want to dive Swamp.
I think you full clear a crystal dungeon before you dive a pendant.
Yeah, luckily, unless he wants to go take out Cold Stare, this is going to be a very quick trip for him. He may just be trying to save Turtle Rock for the last dungeon. Not that I necessarily agree with that, but that might be, his mindset behind this.
I think that definitely has to be the thinking. It's it's one of those things that you get into a point where all right. So this is my opinion on routing. When you first start playing the game, you tend to think about what's the most efficient way for me to pick up every item that I can get. Like if I'm going to be doing it, if I'm going to have to come back here later, I might as well pick it up now. So you end up basically full clearing everything. As you get a little better, you say, well, I'm going to skip sections, but if there's something on my way, then I might as well get it now. And then when you really become an expert, you realize that it's faster to never check a location than to check it efficiently, and you just start skipping absolutely everything you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, Ice Palace is a very dubious play. To me, this is a huge gamble, which the only thing Zilvarro does have is that this is a gamble that Loonycloud made as well. So he's not necessarily losing time at this point, but if Loonycloud comes out with the hook shot in Turtle Rock, that's going to be huge. I mean, at this point, I think the only place hookshot could be on the whatever you call the ice monsters, that one chest above the big key chest.
The freezer room.
Yeah, or it could be. I mean, if you get a big key in that room, it could be in the big key chest. Other than that, you have Cold Stare. Zilvarro having a little bit of trouble lining up this bomb jump.
Yeah, this one you get on like your first or second try, or you get on your 20th try. There's like no middle ground.
Don't fall.
Oh, that is the worst. You finally make it across, then you fall. So many times I've had that happen. It's such
Got it on my first try and on my 10th try.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll know very quick if hookshot is in Turtle Rock, but either way, Loonycloud does still get to clear this dungeon, so nothing really lost on Loonycloud if hookshot is not here.
That's something you don't see every day. Zill was using the silver arrows to take out the penguins, and the silver arrows were less effective than the hookshot would have been.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, well, here's the freezer room, and we find powder on Laser Bridge at the same time.
We have a small key, which unlocks a lot more in Ice Palace.
And third sword upgrade, last one that we know of, is in Laser Bridge as well. So that's all the swords. We know where the fourth one is on pedestal.
I'll be very interested to see what Ice Palace is holding here.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That is so bad for Loony.
Oh my god. What? That is the gamble that should not have paid off that did.
Zilvarro's in go mode though, isn't he? He has no reason to stay in this dungeon.
You're absolutely right. He does not need to be here anymore.
Yeah, he just needs to mirror out. Oh man, I can't believe
the delayed reels. Maybe I think we'll see a mirror mid Cold Stare fight.
Man, he's probably gonna be real pissed when he gets suspended.
He's not gonna like this part of the VOD, I think, when he watches it back. It's like, oh man, I knew that.
Yeah, he's either looking for a sword or he doesn't know that ice is a pendant. Although there were still chests for him to check, though, so I think he thinks ice is a pendant at this point.
Or maybe like he had a warm-up race before this and he kept dying to cold stare and he's just like, you know what, this is personal at this point.
I mean, he's got blue potions for days, so this is going to be an easy fight.
He's used like 3 of them already.
Rewarded with a key and a blue pendant.
So your Loonycloud, you're checking you're checking Ether and Spike Cave now. Obviously, you're not going to find your hook shot. Your choices are: you finish off Thieves Town, you dip into Swamp Palace, or you do Ice. I think you dip into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, worst case scenario for him, he finds a flute.
Yeah, I mean, even if you go into Swamp Palace, you're clearing all the slow parts of Swamp. You're clearing left side, looking for the hook shot. So when you go back there later, it's just, the back of Ice, back of Swamp rather. So I didn't check either, just checked the Spike Cave.
Yeah, and also you have to look at Looney's routing now. Looney has left chest in Thieves Town. He's left chests in Ice. So there are a couple of options for him aside from diving even Swamp.
So this is really weird from Zilvarro. So is in Go mode, has Swamp and Turtle Rock, but is doing Turtle Rock first. So it's going to have to do Turtle Rock, go back to Swamp, and then climb up the mountain again for Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I don't know. Not the play that I would make.
You might be right that he doesn't realize that he is in Go mode, or maybe he has something mismarked.
He's taking the wrong drop there too. Yeah, I don't know. It may just be nerves. Piece of heart from the magic bat, and we'll see where Loonycloud goes next.
So his personal tracker, he has Ice as a crystal and Swamp as a pendant.
Oh no. But he just got a pendant from Ice, so he has to know that that was wrong.
That's one of those things that a lot of people say, well, listen to the dungeon music, and you play so many seeds that the music is just background noise and you don't really think about it. And looking at the pendant, realizing that it was mismarked, I don't even think that you absolutely put those two facts together either. You just you're thinking about where to go next, and you're just picking up the item that drops. You're probably not even looking at the item, you're looking over at your tracker.
Well, luckily for Zilvarro, it does look like Looney, unfortunately for Zilvarro, unfortunately for Looney, it does look like Looney is dipping Swamp, so Zilvarro has already gotten this chest, though.
Yeah, this also explains why Zilvarro went into Ice when he did, and why he finished it. That's I don't know how he recovers from this though. Eventually, he's just going to have to check his map.
Well, I mean, if he thinks that Ice Palace was a crystal, he's going to clear Turtle Rock and he's going to go to Ganon's Tower and it's not going to open.
Yeah,
so,
he
needs to do this.
That's what's going to happen. He's going to have to just look at his map at that point.
So meanwhile, Looney is going to get pretty deep into Swamp, not find anything, potentially find a flute. And he's got to go back to Ice. But with chests left in Thieves Town, I don't know that I'd full clear Ice before I full clear Thieves Town. Especially because the item that's in Ice Palace, you need to full clear Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think you I think you probably do go back and do Thieves Town just because it's really quick. But it's also because it's really quick. You know, you're going to find your fourth item. You're not going to actually have to kill blind to pick up your fourth item. It was in the maiden chest, so you'll find the item really quick, and then you know, he did the pedestal check, so he knows that he doesn't actually need to go beyond that point. Best thing for Looney could be a flute in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if Zilvarro will take a chance on Laser Bridge, because that's going to be his only chance at a Tempered Sword. Either that or he's doing Master Sword Ganon.
Yeah, so I just want to take the opportunity to point out, and this isn't that big a deal, but you know, anybody thinking that Zilvarro made, you know, a mistake or a really bad play, misclicking a tracker is something that happens to, you know, even the absolute, you know, world champion runners. It's not something that you can say it happens, you know, because of a particular group they're in or a particular ranking. Everybody makes a mistake from time to time, and once you check your tracker, it's very common just to look at that as your reference and not the in-game crystals, the in-game maps. So this is an unfortunate mistake, but it's not something that should be a sign of bad play. It's just a mistake.
Oh yeah, sometimes I even have items checked as pendants, and I still end up running into them because I forget. I just hear the music, and I'm like, crap, what am I doing here?
Yeah, and ultimately, you know, ultimately if he's clearing a crystal dungeon, Turtle Rock, that he needs to clear anyway. If he walks over to Gen's tower and it doesn't open, which it's not going to open, so it's not really an if at that point. He's going to check his map, and you know, clearing ice, finding the hook shot there. Maybe he went into the ice for the wrong reason, but it was the right play. So ultimately, he could still win the race.
Yeah, not even counting the fact that Hookshot was an Ice Palace. Like, this is, for this kind of a mistake to happen, this is probably a best case scenario, because really, you know, this is a dungeon that he needs to clear anyways. I mean, yeah, he did, you know, waste time going to Cold Stare, but that was like, what, maybe 30, 45 seconds? So really, he hasn't lost a whole lot of time.
I just don't want anyone to be negative over the mistake.
Oh, yeah. And it does look like Zilvarro is checking Laser Bridge, so he will get, or maybe he's just taking the safety door, but hopefully he gets tempered. It's in that first chest right there. So Looney done with Swamp Palace. It looks like he was just checking for a sword. Zilvarro not bothering with the other chests, so he's good to go now. He's in true go mode. Get a fat fairy check from Loonycloud.
Please don't play the flute.
Oh, Looney left the bomb.
No, Looney didn't. Looney almost left the bomb, but Looney didn't. Bomb's back.
All right. And there's Kiki.
Yeah, I don't think that went quite as smoothly as Looney wanted it to. It kind of lost a little bit of the swag with the quadruple screen transition there, but it's still a cool swag move. Just don't be the flute. Don't be the flute. Don't be the flute.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I think what that
All right.
is. What that is, if you transition the screen while the timer of the bomb hits 0, it jumps back to Link. I don't know any more details than that. I just believe that's how it works.
That is correct, and all the details.
If I
So
told
you're
you
good.
anything else, I would probably be lying to you.
Yeah, that's all you have to. You can dash if you take damage. You can dash when you're using the hook
Oh,
shot.
Zilvarro's heading to Ganon's tower.
All right, so here's the moment. Just moment of confusion. Map check.
Oh my
Pause.
gosh.
Pause it. Everybody, open up Zilvarro's stream and watch his tracker in real time. I guess.
Oh man. And now he realizes.
Oh, there he goes. Poor guy.
He probably feels behind after that too.
Yeah, but
I mean, even though Hookshot was an ice palace.
he's actually ahead. He's going into a his last Gomo dungeon, and Looney is still looking for the hookshot. So Zil has a very significant lead at this point.
Man, I wish I could have clipped that. I wish I could have clipped that. That's got to be like one of the worst feelings in the world. Like, sweet, I'm at Ganon's tower. Wait, what?
Yeah, he absolutely needs to feel a little bit behind. He he might say, I went into Thieves Town and I didn't need to. I did more in ice than I absolutely had to. I could have done Swamp before Turtle Rock and saved myself a Death Mountain climb. And just making a mistake is going to make you feel behind. So I don't think he feels ahead, but he absolutely does have a very significant lead.
Yeah, and one thing worth mentioning too, Looney is clearing Thieves Town, and I'm almost, well, we know that he's not going to find a flute here, so his only option after this is going to be Ice Palace.
To answer chat's question, no. All race ROMs, both tournament ones and just for weekly races, nightly races, everything, they do not generate spoiler logs. If you want only the casual ROMs that you generate, you can get spoiler logs for. So nobody will know where items are, even after a race is done.
Also answering chat, can the flute be a Misery Mire? It cannot. The algorithm, even if an item is not required to kill Ganon, the seed does require all items to still be accessible. So it's impossible to have flute in the Mire area.
Yeah, the exception being, keys can be locked in chests and and things like that, but
Yeah.
items need to be accessible. So the flute could be in Ganon's tower, and you would never have any reason to ever use it. But if you wanted to, you could get the flute, clear all the pendants, get your 4th sword upgrade, and then go kill Ganon.
Yeah, that used to be a real fun time back in the days of the Key Sanity tournament. Still looking for that Ganon's big key, and you find a mushroom, powder, flute, all in Ganon's tower. So Zilvarro is still checking chests. I wonder what he's looking for at this point. He's got half magic. He's got silver arrows. I mean, red mail or butter sword, maybe.
Well,
He checked the flooded chest, but he didn't check the chest
waterfall. Yeah. Red mail would be nice. That'd be a nice upgrade. And the 4th sword. That's really all they could be looking for. Powder wouldn't be bad. There's a lot of anti-fairies in Ganon's tower. You get those health refills. He does have the net, so he can capture some fairies. He's got enough money for 3 more blue potions as well.
So Loonycloud, I believe, getting the last item in. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's one more item. Maybe Zilvarro left an item here. Because Zilvarro, I don't think checked this, or maybe he checked it before getting the maiden.
Yeah, so that's the last item.
Yeah, and Loony
And
Cloud, I'm
Looney
guessing at this point is heading
mirroring
back.
out. Hey, that's our 7th crystal for Zilvarro. So, bot's running, folks. If you want to participate in the big key guessing game, now's your opportunity. Just type 1 through 22 where you think the key is going to be. If you are a sub to any of the Speed Gaming channels or have donated 250 bits or more, then you can be on the leaderboard if you were the first person to pick correctly. It's going to be based off of Zilvarro's chest count order, and we'll stop it once he enters Ganon's tower.
Where's your favorite place to find Big Key?
I keep going back and forth on this. Randomizer says I should just pick a random number because it doesn't really matter. Other times, I like to kind of like see what the seed feels like it should be. This one, I'm not getting any sense from this one. I'm just gonna pick a random number and say 14. How about you?
Yeah, I like vanilla location right after Ice Armos, which I think if you go right side, it puts it about 13. I usually go for the puzzle ones first, though. I love, like, especially if it's a bootsless seed, I like it to be right after Ice Armos to watch people bomb jump over the invisible bridge.
If it's been a really easy seed, then I'll be like, okay, Ice Armos or Tile Room or trolley locations. If they got boots late, then I'd be like, yeah, but make it on the torch. But this has been a pretty straightforward seed.
With the exception of Hookshot and Ice Palace, yeah. It's been fairly linear. It's bottlenecked pretty nicely. There haven't been a whole lot of wild goose chases here. Really, just thank God the flute has stayed out of the logic so far.
This could have been like a 140, if everything went on track.
We have Zilvarro finally reaching Ganon's tower with no issue this time.
Yeah, it opened up, no problem. It's like, oh, you can come in this time.
We have a small key, but we're still opting to go left side.
Left side works. Good old reliable left side play.
Yeah, left side, from what I've seen, and this may just be perception bias, left side appears to have the key more often. Of course, there are more chests over there, but sometimes I still like checking right side because if you go left and it's not on left, you lose more time than if you go right and it's not on right.
I think this is confirmation and simple probability with there being 7 spots on the left and everything else on the right, on the other way around. But yeah, I agree with you on that one. There we go.
All right.
Chest number 7.
So Zilvarro is going to start his ascent. Loonycloud is probably going to feel very bad when he finds this hookshot.
Hey, SAGTG's our winner. I did one of your races the other day.
It's an interesting mimic strat. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone handle the room that way.
The mimic room's my favorite room in GT because it varies a little bit. Every single player is going to have a slightly different movement pattern that they practice.
So I'm trying to figure out here, this route that Loonycloud took, will he be able to get back to the iced tea room short of going back through the dungeon this way? I think because, well, yeah, he still has one key, so he should be able to get back to the cross room with the spike ball in it.
Yeah, he can open the door heading down. I mean, he'll go left here, and then he'll go down the stairs. He'll fall in the hole. He'll go right, or he'll go up, and then run down. Ace Palace has lots of variety. You can route it any way you want to.
Yeah, Ice Palace and Misery Mire, they're some of my least favorite dungeons because they're difficult in the most annoying ways. Unfortunately, just the way Looney is routing this dungeon, it's going to be the last chest he checks. Zilvarro running a little low on health, and I don't think he has a fairy.
Yeah, did he restock on blues again? No, he didn't. He has all his money left, so he's down to like the one blue potion that he had after his Ice Palace run.
I mean, it's possible to go through this without taking damage, but that's a lot closer to death than I would want to be.
All right, well, 2 more rooms, and then Looney will be in go mode. 1 more room, and then Looney will be in go mode. 0 more rooms, and Looney is in go mode. Yay!
Man, even though that was one of the last locations available to Looney, that's still a sub 2-hour go mode.
Yeah, it's frustrating because he did make the early ice attempt. He's got to be saying like, if I practice that bomb jump a little bit more, or had an extra bottle or something, I would have had this half an hour ago.
Yeah, and Ice Palace logic is so weird because having the cane can change the requirements of Ice Palace. So yeah, it's certainly not an easy dive to make when you're looking for the hook shot.
Oh my god. Looney has not cleared Swamp Palace.
Oh no. Are we about to see someone else try to open Ganon without a crystal?
I really want to like just reach out with my prayers and oh man. That's unfortunate. So nice Moldorm 2 from Zil. Heading into Aga 2. Let's see, Silver's in a butter. What's his final time going to be? I'm going to say like 152. Well, Silver's in temper, not Silver's in butter. I'm going to say 152.
Oh man, Looney. This will be fun to talk about in the interview. Like, they're both doing this. And it's the same crystal.
It's the same crystal. This is exactly what you want to see once you're already out of the brackets and you're just playing for fun, because
Yeah.
they're gonna be able to chat about this after the race and watch the VOD and get a lot of enjoyment out of this. Right now, not so much, but later on they'll look back on this and they'll be laughing.
Yeah. It's just so interesting that we saw the same mistake twice. Under literally the same conditions, pretty much. So with Tempered and Silvers, this should be a very comfortable Ganon fight from Zilvarro.
Has 1 blue left. I don't know if it's more than that. I want to be a little bit careful on health.
making good use of that cave. You got half magic, why not?
Zilvarro, though, I mean, we mentioned this before. You know, it's got to be like thinking that Looney is right in the same exact room, not seeing a dot done after double dipping the GT entrance. Is that what we're going to call it? I don't know what you call that, but you got to be thinking like, how am I ahead at this point?
Yeah, I mean, and even finding hookshot in Ice Palace, you either feel really good about that or you feel really bad about that.
I think you feel lucky about that. Like, I don't think if it's because it was in his mind it was a crystal. You don't really even see that as a gamble. You just see that as luck. I don't know what double dipping the GT entrance. I don't know what else to call it.
And get your GGs in chat. Zilvarro has slain Ganon.
Yeah, GG's to Zilvarro. Moving into 3-3, finishing it up here with an official Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 50 seconds. 70 seconds sooner than I predicted, so that's extra credit for Zilvarro. This truly was a really, really fun race to watch.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll invite him in for an interview and then thoroughly mock him in just a moment.
I'm so glad we got these clips.
All right, so welcoming Zilvarro, GG on the against tower entrance double dip.
Yeah, thanks. I think, did I get the blue pattern from Ice Palace?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. I was so happy about that hook shot. On my tracker, it said that Ice Palace was the crystal, and so yeah, I was already feeling in go mode. I wanted to.
All right, so welcoming Zilvarro, GG on the against tower entrance double dip. Yeah, make sure you have your Twitch stream muted.
Oh,
Yes.
If you opened up Twitch, make sure you mute it because you're gonna get echo.
okay, so I muted my stream now.
Or just like mute all your OBS. Just don't output sound at all.
Yes. Okay.
Welcome back. That was a really fun race to watch. We were wondering why you were gambling on Ice Palace over Turtle Rock. You know, Turtle Rock being a crystal and Ice being a pendant. And then we were double wondering why you were clearing it after you picked up your go mode item.
Yeah, so I had it as a crystal, so I think that should explain everything.
Would you believe your opponent did the same thing? Both of your go mode items were hookshot, right? So you found hookshot, you cleared Turtle Rock, and then you went to Ganon's Tower. Your opponent cleared Turtle Rock first, then did some overworld checks, found hookshot in Ice Palace, did not go back to Swamp Palace, went immediately up to Turtle Rock, and tried to unlock Ganon's Tower with 6 crystals. So I have to ask, how did it feel to find hookshot in Ice Palace? Did you feel like that was a gamble that put you ahead, or did you feel behind because you didn't make that play sooner?
I felt pretty much ahead. I was worried all the time for the hookshot logic from Ice Palace, whether the hookshot could be in GT or not, but that point totally became moot when I found it in Ice Palace. So I was very relieved. And yeah, I mean, if Swamp actually was a pendant, then it might be the case that you can clear Ice Palace without hookshot, I think. So I was very worried about that, and because I don't know how the Ice Palace logic for hookshot works. But when I found hookshot, I was very relieved, and I didn't even notice the pendant dropping in Ice Palace. So yeah, it was a fun seed. And also in Thieves Town, I actually meant to do a death warp, but instead save and quitted, which was really bad.
So you never ended up checking the pedestal, but that was your 4th sword upgrade. We just scrolled by on your screen.
Yeah, I think there was no need to check it for me, as I only needed the hookshot, and I thought that Swamp was a pendant, so no need to check that pedestal.
That makes a lot more sense. We were saying, well, it's a quick check. Why doesn't he check it? If the hookshot's there, he knows he's going to have to, clear everything. But obviously, in hindsight, the reason why becomes clear.
Yeah, for the majority of the race, y'all were actually in sync, and when your opponent Loony, he actually dipped Ice Palace before you did, but he stopped short of the bomb jump, or he stopped at the bomb jump rather. So unfortunately, he cleared out pretty much everything he could before heading back to Ice. But for the most part, Loony, I think, might have had like maybe half of a dungeon's worth of a lead on you. Y'all were very close for the majority of the race. Loony having a slight lead, and then he went to Turtle Rock, and you went to Ice, and that ended up being pretty much the difference. But up until that point, you guys were 1 for 1, making the exact same checks, not quite in the same order. You dipped Thieves Town way before Loony did, so you had access to the book sooner, which changed your routing just a little bit. But for the most part, it was a very close race up until you finding Hookshot in Ice Palace.
Yeah, I was also very happy about that tempered sword on Laser Bridge.
Oh yeah, the tempered, yeah. We were worried if you were going to get that because we didn't know if you knew you were in go mode or not.
Yeah, I knew I was in go mode. Yeah, just I didn't know that I had still to do Swamp. That was a nice surprise when arriving at GT.
So I got a really, really weird question, and I'm not even sure how to ask this without kind of like ruining the ending. So I'm going to try it, and I'm going to probably mess it up. But when you were leaving Thieves Town initially, your first trip out of Village of Outcasts, you did not pick up the blacksmith. Were you intending to head to Pod at that moment?
Yes, I didn't want to do it because I think you can't do Palace of Darkness with the blacksmith. So I wanted to leave that as an option for me, and thought that I could do the blacksmith later on.
Yeah, see, I think your opinion follows what most people thought, because we all thought that was the case as well. But we found out by watching Loony that apparently Kiki the monkey will devour the blacksmith, destroy him entirely, and you can complete Pod.
Oh wow, I totally didn't know that. That's really fun. And but it only works if you haven't opened Pod before.
Yeah, if you open Pod already, then it's not going to let you in. But Kiki will overwrite it, and the question that I want to ask Loony is if he knew that was the case, and he was taking the blacksmith as a backup option, in case he found hammer or something. But for you, I wanted to know if it looked like you didn't want to get stuck with the blacksmith.
Yeah.
Kiki, eater of men, devourer of dwarves.
Yeah, he went in with the farce with the frog and came out with the monkey.
I do not want to know what happened under those trees. Well, moving into 3-3, you're obviously playing just for fun at this point, and this race was absolutely fun. A lot of viewers. We got a really nice viewer count, and everybody totally enjoyed this. Even with the mistake, you managed to pull out the victory. GG again. Any final thoughts? We're gonna finish up here with Looney's race. Still doing GT.
Oh no, thanks for watching. Thanks for commentating and tracking. And yeah, it was fun, and I should pay more attention on the map next time. So thank you for restreaming, and goodbye.
That was a fun. Zilvarro, he's a good guy. So back to Looney, making his way up, almost done. Second torch room, just needs to finish off another 5-6 minutes, and Looney will be wrapping up as well.
Yeah, he's making real good use of that fire rod and half magic in Ganon's tower.
So 142 collection rate for Zilvarro, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it really isn't. It feels like it was longer than that.
It does. I mean, it's you look at the tracker, and he didn't clear Thieves Town, but he got all the items there, and Meyer only has 2. So it's like, what did he really skip? Not that much.
Yeah, we got a lot of value for the locations we did check. Except for like the places you usually expect to be valuable, Hookshot Cave I think ended up being a bust. Paradox Cave ended up being a bust. Hype Cave was a bust.
Did they chuck out Hookshot Cave on the way up? I didn't even notice that. Because that would have been like their last trip up.
Yeah, I know somebody checked Hookshot Cave. I can't remember who did.
Alright, well, just getting a single there for Looney on the first round.
Hookshot Cave was also a very late check too.
Yeah, that's always a tough decision if you want to check that when you're in go mode or not. I don't know what you're really looking for at that point. It's red mail, I guess.
Looney making his way to Ganon now.
So Looney, I think, also stocked up on potions earlier, but didn't burn through as many of them. Zil used up a bunch of those potions in Ice Palace.
Yeah, I mean, and Looney has almost full health at this point, so as long as he doesn't give Ganon too many hugs, he should be just fine through this fight.
Misses the 1 cycle there on phase 1, unfortunately.
Getting a good spin there before those fire bats come. He does have the magic cape, so if he wanted to, he could just cape up and just lay into Ganon. I think he's got enough hits, though, to get to the final phase.
Yeah, that was definitely a big time saver that we saw Zilvarro use. Assuming that he has a blue potion and can refill his magic, pulling out the cape there to let you 1 cycle each of those first 2 phases, that can save you quite a bit of time.
This fire bat is one of my least favorite attacks in the game, because Ganon stomps on the floor and stuns you, and then the fire bat flies over you.
The dangerous spot to stand and to light the torch. I thought Ganon was going to get him.
And get your GGs in chat. Loonycloud has now taken out Ganon.
That was a nice fight. So, 14-minute difference between the two runners. Not terrible. Official time 2 hours 4 minutes 55 seconds. We'll go ahead and ask Loonycloud if he wants to come in here and have a few words with us. Are you hearing those chimes? Like, I think that's must be Loonycloud's stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sports Half. I like that. Windows sound effects for the finale. So, welcome Loonycloud87. GG's. You're gonna make sure you pause the Twitch stream and mute your game audio and any OBS output audio as well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can. So GG's Loonycloud.
Yes, well, I didn't play well today.
It was actually pretty solid play. Ultimately, the play of the game was Ice Palace, but up until then, you were slightly ahead of Zilvarro. One comment I do want to make, though, believe it or not, both you and your opponent both tried to open Ganon's Tower with 6 crystals. So Zilvarro had incorrectly marked his tracker. He thought Ice Palace was a crystal and thought Swamp was a pendant. So he found Hookshot in Ice Palace, full cleared the dungeon, went and cleared Turtle Rock, and then head over to Ganon's Tower and gave some frustration slashes as it wasn't open.
Yes, it's late in the game, you get nervous, that happens. Well, I don't know, for me, like the last 8 seats I played, it was like the last go mode item is on the last possible location to shake, and with that you simply lose, that's all.
Yeah, ultimately though, it was really good execution on both of your parts. I mean, it was a very, very close race up until then. Out of curiosity, when you found Boots in Turtle Rock, how did you feel about that? Did you feel like at that point you were ahead, or did you feel like at that point you were behind?
With Boots in Turtle Rock and the book in Thieves Town, I thought I made some time, but I also routed some things really bad, so I thought that would set it back anyway.
Gotcha. You did find book. Zilvarro dived Thieves Town. That was one of the first things he did after getting Dark World access. He dove both Skull Woods and Thieves Town. You opted to skip Thieves Town. One question both Tiru and I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I got to know the answer to this.
Did you know what would happen to the blacksmith when you tried to go to Pod?
Yes, I picked him up just to have the option to go back to the sanctuary and do the West Hyrule thing, but I opted to go into Dark Palace instead.
That was something that a lot of us did not even know could happen. So I just want to thank you for teaching us yet another way to dispose of the blacksmith.
You're welcome.
All right. So, any final thoughts about the seed? Anything you want to share with your fans and the viewers?
I think it's just totally unfortunate if your last go mode item is in a pendant dungeon that you don't want to do at all.
Well, it was unfortunate, and I can understand. You're a little tired and stressed out after that race, but I do hope that you get a little rest. You go back and watch the VOD. It was a really fun race. Both B-Train and I absolutely loved watching this, and are grateful that we had the opportunity to commentate for both you and Zilvarro, as do the viewers. A lot of viewers really liked both of your play. So I encourage everyone still in the channel, follow Loonycloud87 and Zilvarro. Check out their channels. Maybe you'll learn other ways to kill the blacksmith. You never know what you're going to find right around the corner. Wrapping things up here, just a reminder to everybody, there are 6 other speed gaming networks and 4 ALTTP randomizer ones broadcasting races. We have many races left, in a week and a half left of round 6, then round 7, our final round. Thank you to the Speed Gaming staff for handling the restream, Drosy for doing the tracking and doing a flawless job of keeping us informed, because at least for myself, I would be absolute disaster without the tracker. I'm bad enough with the tracker, but without the tracker, it would be worse. And thanks to B-Train for co-commentating, jumping in there at the last minute. It's been a real pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Last word to you, B-Train.
Yeah, thank you all for following. Just exactly what Tiru said, give these runners a follow. It's not easy to do this on a public venue like this, so it's a high stress opportunity, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun. This race was really fun to commentate. Hope you all have a great day, and thanks for watching.
Later.